So I don't think I know I've mentioned that I kind of have an issue with Isaac Arthur and his vision of how the world works, right? But I don't think I've ever taken it on specifically in any sort of detail. Um, yeah, I was watching a video he released today, and I don't understand how how you can be drawn into this nonsense that he weaves. He's he uses he speaks as if like he's having a conversation with the audience, right? Like we'll be discussing blah 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 blah. And this is really common for a lot of channels on YouTube. And I don't understand who is this we. You're the only person talking, guy on YouTube channel. There's no we. It's like this right here. I because I had been continually harassed and things, I pretty much turned off all notifications. So I don't really check my comments very much unless somebody that I know personally points out, "Hey, you have comments here." Um, I'm not gonna go looking for that and engaging with people. So there is no we, and I'm just gonna be straightforward with that. There is no we. You can feel free, absolutely free to comment. I'll see it eventually. You know, it might be in 2 years or something, but I'll see it eventually. But there's no conversation occurring. And realistically, on a channel where they do check the comments all the time, there is no conversation occurring. Really, there just isn't. Because so you have what, a few thousand people commenting. Yeah, right. And one guy making videos every couple days. He that's not a conversation. They're not responding to all of that. So there's no we. What is this? We'll be discussing. No, no. That's just like pandering to the viewer's ego. And if the viewer is an idiot, then it will work. That's what's happening, right? But then you also have like the things that Isaac Arthur talks about. Oh my god. So, you know, it's all this like futurism, sci-fi stuff. Like, what could happen? I guess he's a physicist or something, so he's like, "Oh, I know everything." That's kind of the vibe that I get off of him. Like, I don't necessarily think that he's particularly arrogant or anything. It's just he seems to me like he's naive about what he doesn't know about, which is, you know, that's pretty much unavoidable. But I don't know. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say. There's like a childish naivete, right? He's kind of just assuming that okay, these sorts of things will be made. Humans will colonize the galaxy. Humans will colonize the solar system. At least things like that. Like he just sort of assumes these things. And again, he brings the we into this. Like we will colonize the galaxy. I'm gonna be dead, bitch. There's no we here. You're gonna be dead. There's no we. What are you talking about? What are you doing? And this also brings up other problems. So it's like this sort of growth, right? This sort of technological growth and expansion into new territories. He goes on about in videos dedicated to the subject. He goes on about how the social structure could be anything. The problem is he's modeling. He's assuming all of this growth will continue based on a period of history where social structure was very specifically sort of just one thing, right? Namely, the last 500 years ish of European colonialism and the fallout of that. And very importantly, the way that that worked is there was always slaves, or effective slaves. See, and I'm not sure that there's even a valid distinction to be made there, right? Because if you're just straight up keeping slaves, you pay them, right, by giving them food and housing. If you have employees that you are paying so poorly that they can't even afford food and housing, that's in a sense worse. Oh, but they're paid, so they're not slaves. Eh. So in this kind of sort of more general, kind of seeing the whole picture sense, there's always been slaves in this world where we expanded. I shouldn't have used that term, although I'm white, so it sort of fits, right? Um, Shit. Yeah, and there's another aspect to this, right? So, in this expansion, which of course coincides with the scientific revolution, and we love that because we're naive and we think that it was fantastic and great, and right. Uh, the main impetus, whatever the word is, however you want to pronounce it, impetus for this was lost contact with China. So we wanted all of the fancy goods from China. The Europeans wanted all of the fancy goods from China, so they established new ways of acquiring them. This is why Columbus was looking for trade routes with India and China. And that Columbus Columbus doing that thing is pretty much what kicked off the Age of Discovery and all of the rest of this. It was about reestablishing something that had been lost because the the Chinese government sort of imploded on itself and became very isolationist in the early 1400s. So goods from China dried up over a couple generations, and the Europeans were like, "Hey, where's our cinnamon? Where's our silk? We want that back." Right? That's what really happened. It wasn't just some like, "Oh, let's go see what's out there," which is what things are going to be now, right? If you're going to colonize the moon, it's much more of a, "Hey, I wonder what's up there." It's a completely different thing. The motive is completely different. It's not comparable. Also, everywhere that Europeans expanded to, there were already people there, which made things a lot easier. You have an automatic source of slaves. You have an automatic system, ecology where there's food available and there's water available, and it's all of your basic needs are guaranteed satisfiable because there's already people living there. That's far different. Go to the moon, you have to like invent everything, bring everything, create everything, something like because there's nothing there. There's no infrastructure. There's nothing. There's no people. There's nothing. There's nothing. You have no source of labor. You have no source of power. You have no source of food. You have no source of water. There's nothing there. There's no air. It's completely different. The reason for going there is completely different. And what happens when you get there is completely different. And throughout his videos, Isaac Arthur never addresses this. Never addresses the social inequality which created the uh, the technological expansion, which is just assuming is going to continue on, even past a point where things obviously have to change radically. So it makes no sense to me. Like, I don't know, just watching his videos, like, there's no real acknowledgement ever that there are lower class people. It, it's like it's like he thinks Star Trek is real. Like, in the real world, everybody is as well off as him. And I don't understand. I feel like this should be offensive to just about everybody. Are you aware of the continent of Africa at all? Are you aware of, like, Haiti? Right? So one of the things that plays into this growth, right? If you look at claims of, like, the greatness, the historic greatness of France, it's pretty solidly nonsense. Um, they were just systematically extracting wealth from peasants and slaves and, you know, colonies and things. And Haiti is a great example of this, right? So after Haiti established itself as a free nation, France is like, hey, you owe us reparations. What? And that money that Haiti paid back to France allowed France to sustain itself in ways where it wouldn't have been sustainable otherwise, and it would have had to reduce its standard of, you know, quality of living and things like that. Every powerful nation operates this way. They extract wealth from other places. An expansion into the solar system, there's no opportunity for that. There's there are no other people to go and extract wealth from. So how is the growth going to work? I don't understand. I don't understand the assumption that these things are inevitable. How do you get that economic growth when you have nobody left to subjugate? This is a really basic, important point that he never addresses. He just assumes, yep, we can completely change our social structure so that there's no social inequality, there's no economic inequality, there are no problems, and after that point we can expand not only in the same basic manner that occurred over the past 500 years, but in an exaggerated form. We can do it better. This is based on absolutely nothing but pure crazy fantasy. What in the world are you thinking, man? I don't get it.